Surprise. I adjusted my microphone, so you'll have to let me know if I'm coming through clear. I have all these settings on the side of my fancy microphone, and I finally looked up what they did, and it turns out I was using it wrong. So we'll see. We'll see. 5 by 5. Thank you very much, Cindy. It seems that I'm learning. I made it so that it takes sound from the front and nowhere else, which is how it should be done, right? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello, Mary, Cindy G, Jane Aldrich. And I thought I saw someone else. Maybe not. Welcome in, y'all. Good morning. Good morning. Today's going to be a little free flowy because didn't have a whole lot of prep time and didn't have a whole lot of sleep, but that's all right. We're having hazelnut and cinnamon coffee this morning. Yeah, hazelnut and cinnamon. But I didn't think about this, which seems pretty obvious in hindsight now. But Fridays and Saturdays, I'm probably going to be out really late. Pedicab the bar scene, which is what I do on Fridays and Saturdays. The bars stop serving alcohol at 1, so I end up, getting rides until 1:30, sometimes almost 2 if it's like a busy night. So, I mean, I didn't get home until 3:30 a.m. I got a REM cycle in and then got up and made some coffee. So, it's going to be a little interesting on the weekends. I don't want to change the time because it's going to be, it's just complicated, right? So we'll flow with it. We'll see how it goes. I think it'll be fine. I got plenty of nap time on the weekends. It's not like I'm working Friday and Saturday, so during the day at least. Yeah, the it is an interesting flavor combo, Cindy. All these all these little packages have quite interesting. This one says bourbon and vanilla cream. I don't know if that one's going to be any good. And then they've got like the regular breakfast blend, but I've been hitting all the interesting sounding ones first. One of them black and tan. I'll probably do that tomorrow. I don't know what that means. Adventurous blend of Costa Rica, Sumatra, and Colombia. Oh, so it's talking actual grinds. Jamaican me crazy. Heavenly caramel. Yes. I do like cinnamon and I do like hazelnut. Together, one of them is winning the fight for dominance for sure. The doors close at 2 usually, Cindy. In Utah, I think the laws are that if you serve drinks to people, you have to give them an hour to like sober up or whatever, which is weird because I mean, if you've been at a club all night, you've had more than one drink, right? But I guess it's I can't remember why they say that is the law, but they have to give them at least an hour to be on the premises to finish their drink or to sober up. I forget what the deal is, but 2 a.m. is when we call it when it pops, and that's when everybody comes out at once, right? So you want to be posted up in front of the venue with your pedicab at that time. And last night was pretty good. Um, I've been out 3 times now since I've been back, and the first 2 nights I made nothing, and it wasn't on the weekend. It was just for a hockey game and a basketball game, and those are hit and miss. Sometimes you don't make anything. Sometimes you make like $100, right? But I made 2 zeros in a row. But last night I made money, so I'm back. It's kind of a momentum thing. I think the more that I go out, the more I get in the flow of it. And it's cold out there. It's hard to be shiny. It's hard to have that that shiny feel, which I think a lot of it is it's like a mental game inside my head. If I'm having a good time, people notice and they want to get a ride, right? Because the whole fun is having a fun conversation, listening to music, riding around town, seeing the lights, whatever the case is. So it's definitely it's a different hustle. But yes, I'm back. I am back in more ways than one. Hey Kristen, how you doing? Good morning, good morning. Carla Norris, it's good to see you. Hope everyone's well this morning. I hope y'all got more sleep than I did. Did not even have time to brush my hair. This coffee is working, though, I tell you what. Toasted coconut. That sounds delicious. Coconut's got to be one of my low-key favorite flavors of all time. Mary asks, have you been to slash worked on a TSO show? I love the t-shirt. Oh, is that what I'm wearing? Trans-Siberian Orchestra? Absolutely. I don't remember what year it was. I've worked a ton of really cool shows with the stagehand union. I've done Roger Waters. I've done, and most of them give you a shirt. I've got a drawer full of these, just different shows I've worked. I was making a resume for it yesterday. What were some of the big ones? I did the NBA All Stars event. That was really really cool. Do not have any merch from that. Chintzy chintzy jerks, but whatever. That was a really cool gig to work. Um, what else? Roger Waters was way cool. For those that don't know, I believe that's the guitarist from Pink Floyd. Somebody from Pink Floyd. Yeah, the TSO show was epic. That was a show that I ended up sticking around for. I thoroughly enjoy the Trans Siberian Orchestra. And it's I discovered them randomly. I think they came up on like a shuffle. I was listening to music and they just popped in or something. That's how I found them. They were covering the Imperial March or something strange. Founder guitarist for Floyd. That's right. That's right. That's right. It was I can't remember the name of the tour, but he had big balloon pigs flying through the air in his show. So maybe that has something to do with the name of the tour. But it was a good year. That was my first year back with the union after taking a break. I'm waking up, I swear. But yeah, guys, I was out late. Saturdays, Fridays, Saturdays are going to be like that. So I guess for us, that's Saturday morning, Sunday morning are going to be a little iffy. And then also coming up Monday, just coming up Monday, I'm working for the venue down the street. I'm an operations guy over there, which means when there's something going on, like a show, a game, if there's anything that the house needs, I facilitate that, me and a team of people, right? And then afterwards, we do a changeover, which is like if there's a hockey game tonight, there's a basketball game tomorrow, we have to put the deck out for what do they call it, the court, right, on top of the ice, and so on and so forth. We do all the house stuff. So Monday, I'm going to be doing a. My boss said it's going to run super late or early, I guess, into Tuesday morning. So it might even be worse than the petty cabin. So we'll see. We'll play that one by ear. I'm not going to change the time unless I absolutely have to. If I can get a REM cycle in, I'm solid, right? I can always nap it later, before lunch, after lunch, something like that. So stay tuned. But definitely Saturdays and Saturdays and Sunday mornings are going to be rough. It's good to see so many familiar faces. Hey, Killian, how you doing? How you doing? Yeah, I'm happy it's Saturday. Hopefully, not waking up my roommates, but I can't let other people live my life for me. Cindy says yuck on the work. I really do enjoy the pedicapping. It's a very social thing. You meet lots of people, you have lots of fun, hang out with your friends, right? A bunch of my friends do the same thing, so we're all out there at the same time, passing each other. We have one of those awooga horns on all the bikes. That's a bad impersonation of it, but we're always hitting the horn at each other. It's super fun. Everybody loves the horn. Mary says, I enjoy behind the scenes type of work. I work at our local fair occasionally selling tickets for Destruction Derby. Wow, I would love to do that. It's always a blast. Destruction Derbies are rad. I've been to a few events like that. I went to like a supercross event once. I went to like a some sort of like motorcycle racing derby thing. It was super dope. I've never been to a Destruction Derby, but that sounds really, really fun. When I was putting in applications a few days ago for touring companies. One of the companies had like a whole supercross tour, and I did not put in applications for that, but I probably should. I don't want to sign up for something that I don't like. I don't know what I'm getting into, and I definitely with that I don't know what I'm getting into. It could be fine, but I remember one of my first gigs with the union here, the stagehand union, was the Ricecle Stadium is where the college football team plays football, the Utes, and we were laying down deck like these giant heavy plastic squares. Sometimes they're like puzzle piece shaped, but basically we had to put it down. We had to cover the field in this decking so that I can't remember if it was a concert or a graduation ceremony, one of the two, but just putting all this deck down. And it was the most grueling job I've ever done. And I've done some really, really hard work. I never wanted to do that again. Pardon me. So if they're doing stuff like that, I don't want to sign up for it and then like get there and be like, oh, just kidding. I didn't. It's not what I signed up for, right? So I didn't put that application in. Maybe we still will. But seeing as I didn't have a whole lot of time to plan this one out, I figured we'd just catch up and talk about joys, things that I've been doing lately that I really enjoy. I've been spending a lot of time with myself, which is wonderful. I'm wonderful to spend time with. Ha ha ha. But I was wondering what kind of books or movies or TV shows you guys have been watching lately. I've been rereading Game of Thrones for like the third or fourth time. I lost count. I'm on book three. I'm about halfway through. The Red Wedding just happened for those of you that are familiar. Um, and it's funny. I know the story, right? I've read it. I've watched the shows, but every time the good people die, I'm like, what the heck? This is one of those novels, one of those shows that you fall in love with the characters and then they die pretty quickly thereafter. And yeah, I hope Winds of Winter comes out. I hope George gets around to it. He said he was three quarters, or wait, 70%, 75% done or something like that with the Winds of Winter, and that was like years ago. And he's allegedly now struggling to finish it up. But I mean, it's got to be a book that's this thick at this point, even not being finished. It's going to be a huge one. I remember when Harry Potter was coming out and was new. Each book was just thicker and thicker and thicker, which wasn't intimidating for me. I was like, yay, more of what I like, right? So we'll see. I got my fingers crossed. I have hope for that book to come out one day. Supertramp, huh? You can't hear my music, can you? Part of the whole adjustment on my microphone, it should not be picking up anything behind. It should be just be picking up this direction. I'm gonna have to type in the song name. Kellyanne, are you a deep cuts kind of music listener, or are you like a radio listener? I tend to think that you're a deep cut listener. No, that's not how everybody listens to music. I was talking with my buddy about this last night. I'm a deep cuts person. Like I will listen to the radio and the popular stuff, but I always want to listen to the whole album if I'm into the band or something, right? Everything listener. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I will add it to my playlist and I will report back. Yo, this band has 9 million monthly listens on Spotify. Oh, to be a popular band. That's pretty cool. That is pretty neat, in my opinion. Cindy says I like random playlists, just not my teens. I tell you what, I 90% of the time when I'm listening to music, I have a liked song list on Spotify. And right now it's got 2,364 songs on it. It's just all kinds of different genres, right? And I just shuffle it. And that has led to me believing that Spotify, their their shuffle algorithm is flawed. It'll play the same 100 songs over and over. Like, but not exactly like that, but I'll hear the same five songs every time I shuffle it, um, which really bugs me. I'm paying them money monthly, right? They should get the darn shuffle right, in my opinion. Cindy says I'm still waiting for the ability to get new glasses, hoping for the reading ability again, just too small and all over the page. Waiting for sugars to be in order again first. Oh man. Well, I hope you can get some glasses and get to reading. Do you is that something that you enjoy a lot that you haven't been able to do? Cindy, I didn't know this about you. I'm sorry to hear that. Kellyanne has a degree in music. I took a semester of music theory and decided it wasn't for me. I do love music. I don't think I love reading music though, you know? I like listening to it. The The art of the album, I think, is disappearing, says Jane. They used to be so well thought out. I agree. I mean, I think part of that has to do with AI. I think part of that has to do with just like what music is popular today. And I shouldn't rag on rap because I do enjoy some rap, but I don't think that I don't think the album and the album art and the structure of the album is. I just think rap is intrinsically different. And I mean, there's raps taking over. It's in commercials now. It's on cable television. You know what I mean? And again, I like rap, but it's surprising to me that it's kind of mainstream now, right? I think that changes the whole landscape, in my opinion. Kellyanne says that the music industry kills true artists. They need a new venue to showcase their work. Social media has helped that to some degree. And it's interesting. I was talking with someone recently about uh, billionaires and evil and the elite, and I think that at the upper echelon of money, right? Not necessarily just the music industry, not just necessarily business. I think that once you hit a certain level of popularity or a certain level of, money, you're in a sphere that's governed by evil people, in my opinion. Um, and again, I'm not in that sphere, right? I don't have money like that, and I'm not a successful artist. And haven't attempted to be. But something in my heart tells me that it's a racket, unfortunately. And that was my dream as a kid to be a rock star, travel the world and play music. Instant gratification. My mother always told me that that was going to bite me in the butt, and she was right. She was right. Shout out to my mom. I love you. Carla Norris says, I've just been listening to music on YouTube lately. Just finished a full length hooded cardigan. Oh my. That used 8 pounds of yarn. No time to watch or read. How long did that take you? That's quite the undertaking. That reminds me of a song called Cardigan. Kellyanne, I really do like this song. Jane Aldrich says, got to agree with this. Evil is everywhere. That money and fame live. I tell you what, and this is a great example of why I don't desire to be that wealthy. Obviously, we were talking yesterday about having enough, right? Just having food in my belly and a roof over my head, and how I want a little bit more. But that doesn't mean that I want, I don't know. I don't know if I talked about this yesterday or not, but everything, I think we did. Everything's provided. There is enough resources on this planet for everyone to live lavishly, not to just survive, but to be super comfortable, right? To be happy. But someone's trying to sell me drinking water, right? Someone's trying to sell me the food. Someone's trying to sell this. Someone's trying to sell that. In my opinion, that's the problem, right? If they're, and I'm sure that everybody, y'all are probably sick and tired of hearing this because it's on the lips of everyone I know at least, but billionaires are that's ridiculous. That's a stupid concept in my opinion. Nobody needs that much money. In fact, you're distributing resources and someone has all of these, it's taking away from all these people, right? It's creating a vacuum. It's creating a just my words are failing me. It's creating a disparate amount of wealth, right? I'm not saying I want to be wealthy, but if there were less billionaires on the planet, I think that all of us would have a little more. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. The world is built on balance. Whether you want to admit it, whether you realize it or not, everything is balance. I know it's not. I know that if billionaires cease to exist tomorrow, it's not just like all of a sudden my wallet gets bigger. That's not how it works. But the prices of things would drop, right? The resources wouldn't be so scarce, in my opinion. In my opinion, my not so humble opinion, I've been wrong many times, so maybe I'm wrong. I don't think so, though. I don't think so. Kristen says, got to pop out to do some work since I'm not one of the wealthy elite either. Ha ha ha. Take care, Kristen. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for stopping by. I'm sorry to hear about your mom's passing, Mary. You hate to see that. Mary says one of her sisters was so greedy about the passing of mom. Made you sad. Or that would make me sad too. That would make me sad too. I'm getting to the age. Well, should my grandparents are getting to the age where they may or may not, pass. I mean, eventually everyone does, right? But I would never, I would never bring up like the conversation of inheritance. Never. That would make me feel so selfish. I was talking about my grandpa in Texas yesterday, and he's got cancer, right? And when I was hanging out with him, he was showing me all his cool toys and stuff, and it was really neat. And his wife told me while we were doing that, let him know what you like so he can put it in the will. And I thought that was it took me aback. I have never no one's ever approached me with a conversation like that before. I told him I liked his 45 pistols. So we'll see how that goes. But he told me I might have to take him out of his cold dead hands. I told him, "Are you going to go to Valhalla like this?" And he laughed and said, "Yes." But I think about that sometimes. I wonder. I'm sure that I'm sure that my grandparents are going to take care of me in some way from beyond. You know, whether or not they leave me anything, they're going to be watching over me, right? You're going to skip that song. 3.5 weeks. Feels like it weighs 45 pounds. Well, hopefully it doesn't weigh 45 pounds. That'd be hard to wear. It's for a very dear friend. Never say never, but I hope no one else asks for one. Well, I won't be asking for one, all right? We can make that deal right now. I won't put you through it. Mhm. Yeah, losing a parent is the worst. I've never had to go through that, but I've seen people close to me go through it, and it's never easy. Let's get some ones up for anyone out there that needs them. Hugs and love and prayers, whatever you want it to mean. Yeah, that is a labor of love. I love how you said that, Cindy. So glad I learned how to use this microphone. My freedom of sound is wonderful now. Mary says this I love this so much. Mary says I was so glad to hear you spent time with your grandpa because honestly that is your inheritance. Preach. I love this. I lived next door to my mom for 6 years before she passed and have the best memories. And honestly I want to go spend more time with him. He's one of my favorite people on the planet and I barely ever get to see him. It's a tragedy. We were talking while I was out there about me moving out to Texas. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I'm definitely interested in the idea. I love it down there, and even if it's just for a while, like I was in Tucson for a year and a half, right? Even if it's for a while, I would love to spend more time with him. In particular, my grandpa. He's been a huge part of my life, even when we weren't around each other. He's always been a huge part of my life. Really helped with the grief. I tell you what. Yeah, there would be regrets for sure if I didn't get to spend that time with him before he passed. My poor eyeballs, guys. Kelly says at a certain level, I noticed some artists change, especially physically for the worse. Ariana Grande comes to mind. That's so funny. I looked at I mean, I'm not trying to laugh at people, right? But I think that's very ironic. I was looking at a picture of Gwen Stefani the other day, like a recent picture, and it made me really sad. She used to be the babest babe, and I don't think that that's the case anymore, unfortunately. Sorry, not sorry, Gwen. She was like the punk rock dream when I was younger. You guys are making this show. You know that? I'm not even looking at my list. So other than Game of Thrones, I've also been watching. I've been on a live action anime binge. The only live action anime that I've ever really enjoyed thoroughly that I thought they did a good job with was One Piece, and I rewatched that recently. And then since I did, my Netflix is like throwing other live action animes at me. Most of them aren't that great, but I watched Yu Yu Hakusho. Really enjoyed that, although they took crazy liberties and changed all kinds of stuff. I thoroughly enjoyed it just because I'm in love with the characters. They're great. And I was watching for those, this is a deeper cut. Roroni Kenshin has a live action, and it's interesting because that is a story of a samurai who, and this is it's going to be a poor explanation, but just bear with me. A samurai who was integral in the shift from the Edo period to whatever followed it. I forget, which is very violent, right? The overthrowing of the shogunate, as they say, and restoring the imperial rule. And afterwards, he had so much blood on his hands, he swore to never take another life. And he started wielding, I forget what they call it. It's like a reverse blade katana. So usually the blade's on one side, right? He got a sword basically that has the blade on the wrong side. So when he uses it, he hits people with the blunt end, right? To follow that idea of not taking any more lives. And it's kind of like a weird romantic. It's not that he's like fallen in love with anybody, but I just mean the way that it's portrayed, the way that they tell the story. It's not what you would expect from a samurai anime, right? So very interesting stuff. But the live action that I was watching, I didn't finish it. I got like an hour into it. It seems to be telling the story of how that came about, aka him being the manslayer. They call him Batosai the manslayer, right? So it shows him in his darkness doing all the dirty work, right? How he came to the idea, I don't want to do this anymore. But it seemed pretty cool. It didn't seem terrible. I'm also not a very tough critic, but I enjoyed it. We'll finish it today probably. See what happens. Mary says, ask all the questions about his life or whatever. I wished I asked more questions of my grandma. My advice. Wink, wink. I we spent a whole day together, and then we spent Christmas together when I was out there, and we did nothing but catch up and ask each other questions, just like that. Like no time had passed at all since we've seen each other. Right back in the saddle again. Well, I hope that heart valve replacement goes well, Carla. I'll be having your friend in my thoughts. What did you think of the anime version, Cindy? I feel like anime is an acquired taste, like a fine wine. The way that they structure them and create them is very, very interesting. Not traditional from what we're used to in the West. Kellyanne says, I was very close with my grandmother. Such a rich experience. I can smell them from time to time, even now. It's funny that you mentioned that. I can smell things that I shouldn't be able to smell sometimes. I feel like my olfactory senses are acute, definitely tied to memories and tied to feelings and emotions. But I haven't heard anyone put it like that before. I can smell him now. He smells pretty good. Papa Scoville had a very very unique scent. I smell him all the time as well. Means he's with me, I guess, huh? Love that guy. Rest in peace, Papa Scoble. It is strange. City says, is it not strange how you remember those smells or sounds? Smells and sounds. I forget. My dad explained this to me one time. But are in your brain connected to memories? You could listen to a song and be right back where you were the first time you heard it, right? Um, just in your mind, obviously, right? Interesting stuff, though. Powerful stuff. There's a word for that phenomenon. My dad would know. What was I going to say? So I wanted to talk about a couple more things, and then I'm probably going to get out of here. But I was perusing YouTube yesterday, and I thought it was really cool to see everyone back on my dad's show. That was really really cool. Things seem to be very exciting over there, and that warms my heart. That makes me real happy. Um, 'Cause for a while there, we were getting a little sad. I mean, I should speak for myself, but it definitely seemed like we took a devastating blow. But I'm really happy to see that things are going better over there. Um, and maybe we'll even do a father son show here coming up. I'm not sure. We were talking about it the other day. I wonder what he's doing this morning because hopefully he's sleeping in because he did not get back to me. He deserves a little extra sleep, I think. And finally, the last thing I have on my list is we were talking about things that we love, things that we enjoy, ambition and motivation, and something that I've always wanted to do, but never really put a whole lot of time or effort into is learning to speak different languages. I've brushed on this just a couple times in the last few days, but I think I'm going to add that to my routine, even if it's 15 minutes. I'm going to spend 15 minutes learning Spanish every day. Um, if it's still an idea that fills me with excitement, that's something that I should chase. That's what life's about, in my opinion, passion, right? And that's something that's always made me excited thinking about, but I've never, again, put the time or effort into. I bet you I'm capable of speaking a bunch of languages, but there's only one way to find out. And so we're going to go ahead and do that. I asked on a whim, I asked Chat GPT yesterday, I was like, can you teach me to speak Spanish? And it said yes. And then it gave me like an outline of how it was going to do so. So I don't know if that's going to be effective or not, but we're going to give that a try. Um, I know that there are apps like Duolingo, and I could get like a program like Rosetta Stone. I could even take an actual class and talk with a human. Um, but one way or another, I'm going to add language to my routine. We will report back on that, folks. This morning, I was so tired. I was making coffee, and I have this routine where I'll fill up the kettle, put it on the burner, and then I'll rinse out and wash my press and my cup, and then I'll put the grounds into the press and wait for the water. I did all of this, and then I had my dishes or whatever, my cup and the lid for the press on the drying rack, and everything's upside down, drip drying, right? Because that makes sense. And I looked at the press, which was not upside down because it had grounds in it, and I thought to myself, that's not drip drying. I turned it over and dumped the grounds all over the drying rack. And I was like, oh, stupid Mike, you know. I didn't say that, but I felt real dumb. I'm like scooping up the grounds because I didn't want to waste it. I mean, it was a clean drying rack, right? It's not like I'm getting dirty coffee, but that really bummed me out. It was kind of silly. It still tastes fine. Jane says, glad to see your dad's coming back strong. He does a great show. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. I'm glad to see he's finding his sea legs again too. He deserves it. Kellyanne has been doing French on Duolingo for 7 years. How do you feel about your French speaking prowess after 7 years? That's really cool. French is definitely on my list. I want to learn. I mean, I don't know why I would say this first because it's real hard, but I want to learn Japanese. I want to learn Spanish. I want to learn French, and I want to learn Russian. I don't know if that's how you're supposed to say that, but like the Cyrillic alphabet and all that. Cindy says, I watch one guy that learns other languages. He says an hour a day, no time you have it, but everything in that hour is Spanish or whichever language, right? Talking to your dad, should do in Spanish best you can. And when I was taking Spanish in school because it was required at the school I went to, this was something that my teacher told me. She also told me to watch Telemundo and try to understand and whatnot. I wasn't that into it back then. I wish that I had been though, because I would know more than un poquito, Espanol. Kelly says I understand a lot. Speaking is slower, but I'm getting there. Word. Okay, okay. Yeah, reading it, speaking it, and understanding it are three totally different things. I mean, they all tie in together, right? But I can I feel like I can speak more than I can understand, but that maybe that's not true with Spanish. And I feel like I can read it better than both of those things. I had a very interesting dream last night, and I should have thought about it more before I did this because now it's fading. But I feel like it's something to do with a dragon. That's weird, right? I can't remember. There was a pretty girl too. There was a pretty girl, and I'm pretty sure a dragon. I don't know. Who knows? It was a good dream. I felt good about it. Although I did at one point wake up kicking as hard as I could with one leg. I think I tried to kick somebody in my dream. That happens from time to time. Sometimes I'll wake up and kick the wall. It hurts really bad. Jane says Russian is great fun to learn. Got to the point I dreamed in it. Wow, that's been a while. I don't know what it is, but I've always been fascinated with the Russian language, the way it sounds, the way it looks, the Russian culture itself. Mary says, "You are the hero." Yes, yeah, I slayed the dragon, and maybe I tamed and befriended the dragon and saved the girl. In my dreams. Cindy says the same thing. That's so wonderful. Thanks for thinking of me that way, Cindy. Maybe one day I'll live up to it, huh? American Sign Language is also on my list, Cindy. What a useful thing to know, I feel like. Jane says, I've broken many toes and bones in my feet, roundhouse kicking the wall in night terrors. Ow, that sounds terrible. Hopefully that never happens. Somehow I always get away without breaking something. Thank you for saying that, Cindy. That means a lot. And you may be right. I think that my opinion of myself needs to rise to meet such eyes, huh? We're working on it, little by little. Well, Carla says, reading Game of Thrones and dreaming of girls and dragons, that tracks. When you put it like that, when you put it like that, Cindy says, I think we all listen too much to those ants. And you know what we do with ants, right? We combat them with automatic positive thoughts with apps or apps. I made that up, but um, yeah, we have to train ourselves. We someone was telling me this the other day. We hear ourselves. We spend more time with ourselves than anybody else does, right? We hear the way that we're talking to ourselves, the way that we're thinking, more than anyone ever will in life. So the way that we speak to ourselves is of the utmost importance. If you catch yourself, like I often do, being real rough with yourself, because I hold myself to a real high standard, right? But there's a difference between holding yourself to a high standard and like treating yourself poorly in your head, right? When you catch yourself doing that, I think it's important to try and change that narrative, right? If I'm saying some mean things to myself and I recognize it, I'll say some nice things to myself. I'll try to replace that dialogue with positive things. Because really, whatever I'm saying to myself, if it's negative, it's unnecessary, right? I know if I did something wrong. I know if I'm not doing something to the best of my ability. I don't need to beat myself up for it, right? Even though it's one of the things that we're most adept at. It's one of the things I'm most adept at. Um, but again, we spend more time with ourselves and our thoughts than anyone else ever will. So I think that the way that we go about that self interaction is very, very important. I think in pictures as well, Cindy. Not everyone does that. That's interesting. Ants with picket signs and they march down out of my head. That's hilarious. I can see it now. They're protesting. How's the weather up in Ontario, y'all? I think that might be enough coffee for the time being. I love me some rain, Kelly. I love me some rain. Yeah, it was supposed to snow yesterday. It was supposed to snow the day before. It hasn't. It's funny, the weather app on my phone will say it's snowing right now. Should stop by 3. I look out the window. It's clear as day. What the heck? Hopefully, they're getting snow in the mountains so that we can go snowboarding. The boys have been going up there, so there must be some snow at the very least, right? I need to make some money before I can enjoy that myself. Well, I need to make some more money before I can enjoy that myself. But have no fear. Michael is on the case. Calhoun is on the case. I prefer the cold and the snow, Mary. I feel like I can only take off so many layers, right? For the heat. But if it's cold, I can put more on. I can put, hand warmers in my gloves. I can put warmers in my boots. There's all kinds of stuff I can do for the cold. But for the heat, at a certain point, there's no more clothes to take off. You know what I mean? It would be indecent. And even then, even if I was hypothetically, I feel like if I was buck naked in the heat, I'm still suffering. I feel like. So that's just my take on the weather. Well, thanks for hanging out with me this morning, y'all. I think I'm gonna take this opportunity to call it. I'm gonna go make some bacon and eggs. Um, my brain and my stomach are both they're banding together to tell me it's time to eat real food. But luckily, I've got that downstairs. I can't wait. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Um, one more time, let's get some ones up for anyone out there in need. And I'll see you guys in the morning. We might again. It might be like a little slow, a little late again because I'm going to be out late tonight, right? Doing the same thing, making some money. But bear with me. I know you will. I look forward to seeing you there. Hit that like, subscribe, and the bell for notifications. If you like what we got going on here, I'm sure most of you already have, but I'm going to say it because it's a good habit. and bless all you. Calhoun, out.